For centuries, it has remained one of history's greatest mysteries, a place where the knowledge of the known world was gathered under a single roof, a place where scholars studied the stars, measured the earth, cataloged literature, and pushed the boundaries of human understanding. Some believe it contained hundreds of thousands of scrolls. Others argue its reputation has grown into legend. Yet one thing is certain. The Library of Alexandria became a symbol of humanity's endless pursuit of knowledge. Its story is not merely the story of a building. It is the story of ambition, discovery, power, and the dream of preserving all human wisdom for future generations. To understand how such an extraordinary institution came into existence, we must travel back more than 2,000 years to a world transformed by conquest, culture, and the rise of a new civilization. Long before the Library of Alexandria was founded, civilizations across the ancient world were already collecting and preserving written knowledge. What made Alexandria different was not simply the existence of books. It was the unprecedented ambition behind the project. The rulers of Egypt sought something no one had successfully achieved before: a collection containing all knowledge known to humanity. Before exploring the library itself, we must first understand the world that made such a vision possible. The Library of Alexandria was not the first library of its kind. Ancient civilizations in Mesopotamia, Egypt, Anatolia, and Greece had already established archives and collections of written records centuries earlier. Among the most famous was the Library of Ashurbanipal in Nineveh, which preserved thousands of clay tablets containing literature, laws, scientific observations, and administrative records. These early collections demonstrated the growing importance of preserving knowledge, but they also revealed a limitation. Most libraries were regional in scope. None sought to gather the entirety of human knowledge. That idea would emerge only after the rise of one of history's most influential figures. In the 4th century BC, a young Macedonian king changed the course of world history. His name was Alexander. Today, he is remembered as Alexander the Great. Through a series of military campaigns, he created one of the largest empires the ancient world had ever seen. His conquests connected Greece, Egypt, Persia, Mesopotamia, and parts of India into a vast network of cultures and ideas. The city that would eventually become home to the Great Library was one of his most important foundations. Alexander founded Alexandria in Egypt in 331 BC. Strategically positioned on the Mediterranean coast, the city quickly became a major center of trade, politics, and cultural exchange. Following Alexander's death in 323 BC, his empire fragmented into several successor kingdoms. Among these was the Ptolemaic kingdom of Egypt. The rulers of this kingdom would transform Alexandria into the intellectual capital of the ancient world. The rulers who succeeded Alexander understood something powerful. Knowledge was not merely a cultural achievement, it was a political asset. A kingdom that controlled information could better govern its territories, strengthen its economy, and enhance its prestige. The Ptolemies, therefore, invested heavily in scholarship. Their goal was ambitious: to make Alexandria the greatest center of learning on earth. The Ptolemies were a Greek dynasty that ruled Egypt after Alexander's death. Their founder, Ptolemy I Soter, had been one of Alexander's generals. Although they ruled Egypt, the Ptolemies strongly promoted Greek culture, language, literature, and education. This blend of Greek and Egyptian influences helped shape the unique character of Alexandria. It was within this environment that plans for the library began to take form. The exact origins of the Library of Alexandria remain a matter of historical debate. Ancient sources provide differing accounts, and some details have been obscured by legend. What historians generally agree upon is that the idea likely began during the reign of Ptolemy, the first soter, and became reality during the reign of his son Ptolemy II Philadelphus. Together, they laid the foundations for one of the most remarkable intellectual institutions in history. Many historians associate the early development of the library with Demetrius of Phalerum, a scholar, statesman, and student of the philosophical traditions that emerged from Aristotle's school. Demetrius may have helped shape the vision of a universal library. Although scholars continue to debate his exact role, his influence on the intellectual culture of early Alexandria was significant. Unlike most libraries of the ancient world, the Library of Alexandria was designed on a scale never before attempted. Its founders did not merely want a collection of books. They wanted a repository of all knowledge. Every scientific observation, every historical account, every literary masterpiece, every philosophical idea. If a text existed anywhere in the known world, they wanted a copy in Alexandria. The library did not stand alone. It formed part of a much larger institution known as the Museion. Understanding the Museion is essential to understanding the true significance of the library. The word Museion means institution of the Muses. The Muses were the Greek goddesses associated with learning, literature, science, and the arts. The Museion functioned as something remarkably similar to a modern university, research, institute, and academy combined into one organization. It included lecture halls, meeting spaces, gardens, dining facilities, and research areas. Scholars lived, studied, and worked there. The library served as its intellectual heart. Within these walls, some of the brightest minds of the ancient world gathered to pursue knowledge. Supported by royal patronage, they were free to devote themselves almost entirely to scholarship. This environment would help produce discoveries that influenced human civilization for centuries. A great library required a great collection. The Ptolemies spared little expense in acquiring books. Their methods were aggressive, systematic, and extraordinarily effective. Royal agents were dispatched across the Mediterranean world, with orders to purchase manuscripts wherever they could be found. Ships arriving in Alexandria were searched for books and scrolls. Texts discovered aboard these vessels were copied by official scribes. In some cases, the originals were retained for the library, while copies were returned to their owners. The rulers of Egypt viewed the acquisition of knowledge as a matter of national importance. As scrolls poured into Alexandria from Greece, Asia Minor, Egypt, and beyond, the library's collection grew rapidly. Ancient estimates vary widely. Some suggest the library eventually housed hundreds of thousands of scrolls. Regardless of the exact number, it was undoubtedly among the largest collections of written knowledge ever assembled in antiquity. Collecting books was only the beginning. The true strength of Alexandria lay in the people who studied them. The library attracted scholars from across the ancient world: poets, scientists, mathematicians, historians, philosophers, linguists. Together they transformed Alexandria into the intellectual center of the Mediterranean. Among the earliest and most influential figures was Zenodotus of Ephesus. He is widely regarded as the first head librarian of Alexandria. His work focused on organizing texts and establishing reliable versions of important literary works. Most notably, he worked on the poems of Homer. At the time, ancient texts often existed in multiple versions. Different copies could contain errors, additions, or omissions. Zenodotus compared manuscripts in an effort to identify the most accurate versions. This process became one of the earliest forms of textual criticism. Many of the methods developed in Alexandria continue to influence modern scholarship today. As the library expanded, a practical problem emerged. How could anyone locate information within such a vast collection? The solution came from one of Alexandria's greatest scholars, Callimachus. Callimachus created the Pinakas, often regarded as the world's first comprehensive library catalog. The work organized authors and texts by category and provided information about each writer and their works. In many ways, the Pinakas served the same purpose as modern library databases. It transformed an enormous collection of scrolls into an organized body of knowledge. Within only a few decades, Alexandria had achieved something unprecedented. A city founded by Alexander the Great had become the intellectual capital of the ancient world. Its rulers funded scholarship on a scale never seen before. Its librarians developed new methods of organizing information. Its scholars gathered knowledge from every corner of the known world. But the library's greatest achievement still lay ahead. Soon, mathematicians would measure the earth. Poets would reshape literature. Scientists would challenge conventional wisdom. And Alexandria would enter a golden age, unlike anything the ancient world had ever witnessed. Before we end part 1, here's something fascinating to think about. Imagine walking through the streets of ancient Alexandria over 2,000 years ago. Somewhere inside the great library could have been books that no longer exist today. Lost histories, forgotten scientific discoveries, ancient maps, perhaps even stories and knowledge that could have completely changed our understanding of the ancient world. But what if some of those secrets weren't destroyed? What if fragments of that lost knowledge survived, hidden inside later civilizations, copied by scholars, and passed down through the centuries without us even realizing it? In part 2, we'll explore the library's golden age, meet the brilliant minds who worked there, and uncover discoveries so advanced that some still amaze historians today. So here's a challenge for you. If this video reaches 100 likes, I'll release part 2 and continue the journey into the greatest center of learning the ancient world had ever seen. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter. And if you're enjoying these history documentaries, make sure to subscribe to NSB Zone, where we bring the greatest stories from history back to life. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking questions, because history always has another mystery waiting to be uncovered. Thank you for watching. See you on next chapter.